Namaskar, good morning, and thank you for joining us at Anubhav Positive Psychology webinar, first of its kind in Calcutta, I think. My name is Devlina Lahiri. I'll be your moderator for today. To the viewers, good morning and a very warm. What is our topic today? Our topic is about unique stressors and how experts deal with it every day in their professions. Why we've taken this topic. Now, let's begin with why we've taken this topic. It's because, well, when life throws lemons at you, what do? You make lemonades out of them. This pandemic has had major emotional, financial ramifications, and if IPS, if we talk about the Indian Psychiatric Society study says there's been a 20% rise in mental health issues in the country. So we are going to learn from the experts who deal with people from different walks of life, how they have been reaching out and helping other people. One good thing that has come out in this pandemic is we've seen people from different sectors come together, seen people from different parts of the country come together and rise to the occasion. And the experts are exactly those people who have risen to the occasion, who reached out to other people and has been helping themselves out and deal with this crisis situation. So I couldn't be more excited to introduce all of you to our esteemed panelists today. Let me start introducing with Dr. Aditi. Ma'am, your contribution to the society has been unparalleled. You've had experience working in different countries. Your contribution is not just in terms of medical profession, not just in terms of a doctor, but you're also a dance and movement therapist. I think that is not as widely known that you're a dance and movement therapist and a very strong advocate for individuals with neurodevelopmental delay. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
I am going to move on to ma'am, Ms. Sujata Chatterjee. Again, your contribution to the world of education, I mean, everybody knows about it. There have been young generations after generations who've been vouching for the fact that you've helped shape their lives.
Thank
but I think
much.
one thing that I've known about Mrs. Chatterjee through my association, even though she's a brilliant teacher and children are very fond of her, major skill in administrative skills and to success. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
We've got Mr. Name needs introduction. You are a force to be reckoned with in the legal fraternity. So thank you very much for joining us. Again, what I heard from people who've been training under you is you're not just a force to be reckoned with in the legal fraternity, but you're also a mentor that people fight to train under. And now we've got Ms. Riddhi, your work needs no the youngest actor in our country to have national award. And
thank you.
And your work is amazing. So thank you. You're this young inspiration who's many hearts. That smile of yours and found talent. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Before we take questions from the viewers, we are going to take questions from you as in between. But let's start. Probal sir, how to say your legal fraternity has changed? Personal, your biggest challenge through this change?
Yeah, I'll tell you, because there is a quantum leap in the professional field that we are facing as of now. Because usually we used to appear before the court
Probal,
physically.
are we audible?
Uh,
Your
Devlina, Devlina, your audio is echoing to me, so I could just figure out what you are asking, and then I'm trying to reply. If you need so, you can give me the chat. Now that because of this reason that we can't appear in court,
okay.
one of the great stressors that we are facing is that the connectivity problem, because we are appearing in the court through the video link that is being shared by the High Court. And you see that we are responsible to our clients because they have paid us for their representation. Now that if we cannot connect and make our representation to the court, that adds to the stress. And because of the technological failure, we at times have this is irreversible at times. Now that this has
Correct.
added the stress much
Correct.
because of the COVID pandemic situation. And this is a peculiar situation that we are facing as of now, and it was never before. Other thing is that there are a lot of stressors in our profession, no doubt about it. Now, if I am to list it,
I think this glitch that you're talking about.
sorry, I just couldn't hear you. Sorry.
So, sir, the technical glitch that you're talking about might just end up being our biggest today. But let us hope that's not the case. We shall move on to Mrs. Chatterjee. I would like to ask you as well.
Yeah.
This pandemic has been very, very trying, especially for students. And teachers have had
Absolutely.
to jump into the deeper end of the pool. They've had no time to prepare for it, and they have had to just adjust to the change right away in a heartbeat. So, what has your strategies been? Help the team stay driven and motivated, and B, to make sure that the students don't, the education, the level of education that you impart to the students, uh, the quality does not fall.
Okay. First and foremost, Devlina, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really enjoying being a part of these Sunday musings. The second thing is, yes, I think we as a profession have had the toughest challenge because in other professions, it is adults who adjust. In my profession, it is teachers who are adults and children, students who are children. Who are adjusting at the same time, and they have had no time, they have had no warning whatsoever, and they were just, as you said, thrown into the deep end of the pool where we had to start online classes, and children also had to adjust to all these not being in a classroom with their teachers, not being in a classroom with their peers. At DPS North Kolkata, the school where I'm a principal currently, I have had one major advantage. That is, we were already pretty technologically driven. So technology was not alien to us. Okay, so we were using a lot of technological support even in a pre-pandemic situation. So it was not that we were totally thrown into the deep end of the pool. We had some technological support from before, but it was not 100% technologically driven as it is now. The second thing is that I am very fortunate that I have a comparatively younger workforce. The younger generation is more tech savvy, or I would say they adapt to technology more easily. So obviously, when the pandemic struck, so since I had a comparatively younger workforce, they adapted to the technology much easily than compared to schools where my friends are principals or teachers, where they have a comparatively older workforce. And again, I'm very fortunate I've had a very dedicated team. I still have a very dedicated team who worked round the clock to train themselves. They've attended online webinars. They have attended online training sessions. We are constantly in touch with parents or through online medium. We have had online PTMs. We've even conducted online exams. Believe it or not, we are in the process of concluding the exams tomorrow. Actually, for
So
classes
you're
6
talking about
upwards.
constant upgradation.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There's nothing, no area that is not touched. I mean, whether it is academics or course scholastics or examinations or counseling,
Okay.
everything is going on. So it is,
Upgrading is
yes, it has been a rough and tumble in the beginning, but then yes, we have adjusted, because that is the best thing, that you either adjust or you perish, as we all know. So
talking about
uh,
other areas.
yes, tell me. Hello, Devlina, you're not really very audible. Tell me, just repeat your question.
I like strategy.
Hello.
Moving on to Dr. Banerjee.
Yeah,
Hello. Yes,
yes,
Mrs.
I'm there.
Chatterjee. I like the confidence. I like the fact that you're standing your ground in this pandemic. Uh,
Yeah,
Dr.
absolutely. Yeah,
Banerjee,
absolutely.
first of all, let me begin by thanking you for risking your life. Not that we want you to risk your life every day, but by risking your life, you're saving us. So thank you very much for that. What has been your anchor in that has kept you driven through this tough time and maintain work-life balance? What has been your anchor?
First of all, I would also like to thank you very much for making me a part of this program, for asking my views. And before I get into what had been my main mantra to stay, grounded during these tough times, I would like to say the medical profession. There were different groups of doctors in the medical profession who were exposed to varied groups of tough situation. It was not that everyone was battling the COVID situation. COVID situation is there. It is still prevailing in a much more fulminant form. The numbers are increasing. So it's not that it has ended and doctors had been going through it. They are still going through it. So as you asked that what actually kept me confident, or my colleagues, my juniors, my seniors, everyone, uh, we kept on going in this situation, and we are still going on with this situation, is to live each day at a time, is to take each step forward at a time. We are not thinking about what is going to happen tomorrow, or that the numbers are increasing at such a big rate. That is because there is a big responsibility of the junior doctors upon us, who are interns, house staffs, postgraduate trainees, and they are the main ones who are taking care of these COVID hospitals mainly, mostly the government hospitals. In the private hospitals also, it's the junior doctors who are risking their lives day and night. And many of them even don't know when they can
Okay,
appear for their final MBBS exams. Why I'm saying all this is the tension is not only about their own life or the patient's lives. There's a big tension of their career ahead, and the largest tension that looms back is bringing the infection back home. People are calling doctors as soldiers, as martyrs, but they are not realizing that soldiers do not carry the warfare back home to their children or their parents. So that is what we are taking each day at a time, but we have to be very, very safe, keeping in mind that for us, maybe we are the
sure.
asymptomatic careers, but we are not taking it back to the family.
Mm.
And again, this attitude of the society that has been towards doctors hasn't been very welcoming all over. So it's been also their neighbors, and naturally people in the neighborhood have got scared about doctors. They have thought of even ousting not only doctors, healthcare professionals, people working in the healthcare sector. So we had to take, each situation, each day at a time. It's handling too many things together.
Correct.
Thank you so much for your view, Doctor. Riddhi, I'd like to ask you that this lockdown meant two things. It meant halting work scenario for you, for your industry. So it must have been financially debilitating for a lot of crew members. So
Yeah.
has the film industry collectively taken steps to help their own out?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm really thankful to you and Anubhav for inviting me here today. It's really unique to have a webinar instead of a seminar. That's the new term now. So, yes, it has been quite challenging lately because there's a
Pleasure.
huge amount of crew, the technicians and actors who earned on a daily basis. So like every day when they used to come to work, so they used to get paid on a daily basis. And for the theater fraternity as well, there are so many theater workers who are dependent on building our sets or doing the lighting. So all of them were in dire straits. Absolutely. So initially, all of us were absolutely clueless that how to really help them out, because the disadvantage and advantage of our profession is that it is a collective profession. You can't do it online, so people has to be there in order to keep this particular profession going. But again, so many people from our industry, including us, so we tried to build a fund from March end, and we are really proud to say that still now we are moving that keeping that fund going to support those technicians and theater workers who used to earn on a daily basis. And now the problem is that now the shooting has resumed in Kolkata, but just for television serials. But the number of crew has been shortened down rapidly. So not more than 35 people are allowed on a film set. So which means a large amount of unemployment we are facing, and not just acting. I mean, in our profession, in every profession, the fear of unemployment has like shot up acutely. But again, we always need to find a way out instead of sitting still, and I'm really proud to see that so many people all around us are
Thank
working in their own way to help each other out. So I think it'll take some time to get back to the normal life, but again, I'm very happy that our industry has not been sitting idle and helping them with collecting funds from all over the world.
Thank you so much, Riddhi. Talking about financial strain, Mr. Probal Mukherjee, you were talking about how difficult law as a profession is. It's not easy. You've got a lot of stressors in your profession. But one of
Indeed.
the stressors, I think, is that you need to establish yourself. You need to find your own footing, and it's not a regular job, and that takes time. So, do you think that, I mean, you have won the fight? We all know that. Obviously, you've made it. Um, but would you say that it is a very difficult and trying time for the beginners or the budding lawyers? And what would your advice be to all those that you mentor, all those who are starting their career during this pandemic?
Yes, this is indeed a very good question there, Lina, because see, for us, this stress is little less than what the juniors are facing right now. Because we have an established practice and we know that the flow of work that will eventually come, although it has shot down a bit, but still it is there. It's not that we are zero as of now. But for the juniors, you see, where now into the profession, I mean to say within 3 or 4 years, but then the situation is really bad. Now that this is because they have their obligation, each of us do have obligations to our families and to other people who we are associated with. We have a lot of people who are associated with us, and we have to pay them, and their family also depends on us. Therefore, even for a junior, he must be providing for another two sets of clerks or a peon or something like that. Now that they have to provide for during this pandemic period for their support, and they really don't have the money to pay them off. And this is really very stressful, you see. Now, to
Yes.
obviate this stress, the Bar Association, the Bar Council, the legal fraternity associations, they are coming up with some type of aids and all this. What is not being done is that there cannot be any equal distribution of work to all the lawyers, because you see this is a profession, and all the professions as they are all here from these are the profession of individual particular caliber. It comes to me because of my caliber. I'm not under any banner of a company or something like that. Therefore, even if I want to share my job with other people, the client who comes to me, it doesn't want their services. Therefore, the equal distribution of work in our sphere of work And equally, I must say, with the doctors and teachers and everybody, they are paid for their own services that they give, and that is the rate of payment is also dependent upon how good you have performed, how reliable you are. All these are the indexes on which your success is measured in the profession. Therefore, coming back to the point that the unique stressors are, financial stress is indeed one of the stress which has increased as of now, apart from the operational stress that we are facing each day here. Devina, do you want me to elaborate on the other stresses of our profession, or should I
Um,
let other speakers to it? Sorry, Devina, I can't hear you.
sir, I would come back, sorry, but there is one more because I have another question for you. So I do not want you to answer that before I've asked the question. About reliability, uh, let me just quickly, Mrs. Chatterjee,
Yeah.
Sujata ma'am,
Yes.
you see on media forum
Devina,
is
you're
that
not audible.
this
Just
new
repeat.
not a lot of time to sink in. You
Yes.
take to
Can you repeat your question, Devlina? You're not very audible.
am I audible now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Okay. So this new normal is
Again,
yes.
not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Tell me.
Better? Okay.
Better.
So my question was this.
Hmm.
The new normal,
Yeah.
new normal is a
Hmm.
lot of time to sink in.
Yes.
This new normal is taking a lot of time to sink in. We
Yeah.
have taking social quite evidence of e-learning.
Sorry, just repeat.
So,
The
what
new
is
normal
if
is
you
taking
had
time.
one message
Yeah.
to the parents and
Yeah.
students would at ease? What would it be?
You are saying that the new normal is taking time to sink in. Just repeat what you said after that.
If there was one message that you would like to give to the parents and teach students,
Okay.
put their
Yeah.
mind at ease,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I would just, it would be a very brief message. And the message would be just one sentence: be patient, be kind. The world is going through a very tough time. We in India, I think, are going through a tougher time than probably some of our counterparts in more advanced countries. There are technological glitches, there are psychological stressors, there are economic uncertainties. You cannot help it. It has been thrown at us by God or nature, whatever you believe in. So the most important thing that you have to do at this time, I think, is be patient and be kind. If you feel that there are technical glitches and your child could not attend classes for a day, it does not matter. The world will not fall apart. The child can attend classes the next day. If the child is having an eye strain, he can take a break of an hour, he can take a break for even 2 hours, or he may attend a couple of classes and not attend the rest of the day. It does not matter. It's not the end of the world. It's just that we are trying to get children to learn something in this pandemic situation. Their children are locked up at home. They do not have anybody to interact with, especially their peers or their teachers, on a in a real life day to day basis. So the best that we can do is what we can use an online platform. Hello. So parents need to be patient with their children. Teachers, as well as teachers, sometimes patient parents tend to lose patience with everybody around. That is important with teachers also. If they feel that a particular child is not attentive in a particular on a single day, it may be a number of factors may be at play. So it's very important to be patient, and it is very important to be kind as well. You don't know in what situation a particular person is, because the pandemic, if anything, has aggravated things. those who were in a bad situation are probably in a worse situation now. So be patient, be kind to everybody. Raise the threshold of your patience as much as possible. Be kind in your actions and your words. And remember, if you are alive and healthy and well, and well, your child is learning something and is bonding with your teacher even for a brief period every day, it's more than that we could ask for in such a situation. So I think that's very important.
In
Hello.
situation of this sort, we should be thankful for what we get. But
Yes,
that's not the
absolutely.
case always. And social media
No.
has given the platform to be voicing to our opinions. Social media has
Hmm.
given us that platform where we can voice our opinion, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Mm.
uh, we voice it in a extreme manner. We voice it in
Oh,
a very
absolutely. Mm.
black or white.
Mm.
Question would be
Mm.
to Riddhi for this one.
Mm,
Riddhi, celebrities. When you're a celebrity, when you're in the limelight,
mm,
you everybody knows when you've gained a pound, or when you sneezed, or when you've had a
mhm.
burger for dinner.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything.
yeah, yeah.
So, how difficult is it? How overwhelming is it to uh, maintain your perspective, maintain your inner calm when everybody's always watching? Does it make you paranoid? You always have to watch what you
Uh,
say or what you do.
I know. So the thing is that I think now whoever wants to come into this profession, so they have two choices. So either you accept that this social pressure is always going to be there, that you will be observed no matter what, or you will be judged no matter what. But again, at the end of the day, we all are human beings. So you have to accept this very thing, especially in 2020 when social media is at rise, and for our film promotions or work, because now a lot of film promotions are dependent on social media, so it's very difficult to stay off social media, so even if you want to. So especially in 2020, you need to be even more careful with this thing, that you are going to get judged constantly, whether on social media or on any other public platform. So I think it's a very individual choice for that particular actor or filmmaker or singer who is on that particular spot where people are going to judge them every day, that he or she needs to maintain a distance from the social life, like once your work is done, because at the end of the day people will know you for your work. So it's also the person's way of approach towards social media, that it's not my duty to always let people know what I'm eating today morning, or where I'm visiting, or what dress I've bought for winter, or what dress I've bought for Christmas. So it's also a celebrity's responsibility as well to maintain that distance with the people, that what you're doing personally in your bedroom is not something which is meant to go out. So I also feel that in today's world there's a lot of too much social media activity from the celebrities end as well. So it's very important to know that after your work, at the end of the day, people will remember you for your work. They're going to judge you for your work, not for the person you are. So it's very important to maintain a very healthy personal life which doesn't live in this social media bubble, or this bubble whenever you're going out somebody is taking a photo. All that is fine, but at the end of the day you need to come back to those people who really matters to you. So I think the only way out from this particular stress is to have people around you who, or your family around you, who actually supports you in time of need.
Perfect. I think also the fact art has its own cathartic effect. I think
Yeah,
so. The
exactly.
nature of your work itself has a cathartic effect.
A lot of
If I
cathartic
come
effect, I
to
must say.
Dr.
Yeah.
Aditi Banerjee, yeah, Doctor, you have আপনার তো আরেকটা স্বীকৃতি আছে তাই না? You are a very very talented Odissi dancer. And if I'm not mistaken, you have more than 25 years of experience in it. And you're not just a dancer, you've been utilizing your skills to help children out. especially the ones with neurodevelopmental delay. You have created mudra, if I'm not mistaken, in University Missouri. So my question, since you work with so many children from different socioeconomic backgrounds, has it been more difficult for children to cope with this pandemic? And in your therapy, what are you doing differently to help these children out with their stress?
Your audio is
Ma'am,
on
you are
mute.
not audible. If you can unmute
Sorry.
yourself.
I'm sorry, I had muted myself so that there's no additional sound. Sorry about that.
Yes,
Yeah. Thanks for asking about that side of mine. Yes, dance and
that's
movement
perfect.
therapy is what I had been doing also along with my medical profession for the last few years. And the name of my organization is Samya. Samya means equality. So it is an effort on our part to bring all the children and people living with developmental disabilities like autism and other groups like Down syndrome, ADHD, cerebral palsy together. And what is the medium of work is dance and movement therapy, which is very, very different from dance. Of course, my background of dance had helped, and Mudra was the organization I had back in US. What I would like to say that this pandemic has actually affected persons with disabilities to an extent which is not known to most of the people in the society, because as of you see, the persons living with disabilities are a marginalized section of the society, but still nowadays we are having means and also different policies to help them. But when the pandemic came all of a sudden, there was this lockdown. Nobody even realized that how are these people going to have access to their ration, how are these people going to have access to their therapies, which are an integral part of their life, an integral part of their parents' lives. Parents stressed out because they had a scheduled day with therapies and different kinds of interventions. But over time, as a doctor, as a therapist, I have observed that people have adjusted with this new normal in a way which we could not ever even think of if we were told at one point of time that we are going to live in a lockdown. And persons with disabilities have adjusted it more so. They have adapted themselves with online classes. As Sujata ma'am has said rightly, this is a new thing. We all have to be patient. But I think she would agree that children have adjusted with it really well, more than parents and even teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Children
Because
have
this
adjusted
new
much better.
Yes,
Absolutely,
they are
I agree.
staying indoors. They are not going outside. Persons who are very hyperactive, they need to have, a breather out of their home. They have adjusted with the rooftops and balconies. And parents have said that in the process, they have developed a big confidence that they can manage their children at home with the guidance of therapists and teachers by being they themselves. Now, the mode of intervention I work with, it's a very, very experiential form of learning, dance and movement therapy. So we can't say that we can do it online, but still we have tried with services of online videos which involve such mindfulness exercises, those cathartic experiences in a guided way for children and also for parents. And parents have given feedback that it has also helped them to come over it, because let me share as a doctor that although we have seen mental agonies, depression, those things soaring up in this lockdown period, but the general health of people had been rather better with the environmental pollution decreasing at such a rate. People having hypertension, diabetes, they have adjusted to a better way of life. They have stopped eating from outside. People have taken less refuge in, fast food. A disciplined life, people are gradually getting into a discipline, how long they can watch Netflix or videos, how long they can indulge in those habits which they once thought that they were missing out on them. Now people are getting back into a scheduled form of work. People want to work, and rather I think I would agree, other professionals today, they are sharing their views, they would agree now it's work 24 by 24 into 7. It's not that we are
Absolutely.
working for a certain period of time. We all are
It's work
working
24
throughout
into
the day.
7.
And even doctors having telemedicine. Now we are having telemedicine. So, as again, I would echo with Sujata ma'am. She said parents have to be patient. At the same time, I would say patients and their relatives have to be patient. The new normal is every time a doctor cannot go very close to you, even with the protective equipments, to examine you, to touch you. I know the healing touch matters, but we have to be safe too. So we are monitoring patients. Maybe from the nursing desk, instructions are being given, but patients' relatives are coming back saying the doctor hasn't come and met me, because that matters a lot. But there has been a paradigm shift in everything. And this new normal, everything is not so negative about it. There are a lot of positivities into it. And I would say, as I really appreciate the way Riddhi Sen has said that your life cannot be within that social media bubble. So some people are, I think, gradually realizing it. It's not. If first it started with me cooking biryani in my kitchen during the lockdown period, but now I see that people have transitioned from there. They have,
Right.
evolved from there, where they are also trying to share something which they know that was never a part of their life, but now it
But
should be a part of
if you're ever
everyone's life.
cooking biryani,
Sorry, Devlina ma'am, I
but when
can't
you
hear
say
you.
biryani, ma'am, if you're ever cooking it, you know who all are going to be happy to visit. Only two happy
And that's also a change. You see,
will be
people
only
are
too
happy.
happy to visit when you're cooking biryani.
People are happy viewing it now. So that's also a change,
Uh,
And
so but it's not all been biryani, Probal sir. We know that there has been a lot of alu shekto bhat also. I mean,
yeah.
this this pandemic has brought about a lot of what we at Anubhav as well. It's brought about a lot of conflict within families. Obviously, the financial crisis is there as well. So, being in the legal profession, sir, have you seen a rise of financial crimes, domestic violence, divorce? এগুলোর কি রেটটা বেড়ে গেল আপনি বলবেন?
No, no, in my opinion, and as I get the queries as of now, during this lockdown period, I find that the conflicts within the family are much less. I don't know, because it might be such that the people have taken it in such a way that
Oh,
they have to somehow endure. But one thing that I must say that here, after I hear Dr. Aditi, if I get 10 queries, people want to come and consult. I tell you, 8 out of 10 people are trying to consult us physically by coming to our chambers. And this is from the people who are well educated and who want a physical interaction, or they want to be present in the same room. What I say is a 3D interaction instead of the 2D. And this is what I find that this should not have been, but the people are more comfortable in this seeing a lawyer as they equally might be with the doctors and all. But this is, I don't know, this is a trend that I am finding as of now. After the lockdown is over, I give an option that whether you want to do the video conference or you want to come over to the chamber if you're comfortable with the distancing being maintained. 8 out of 10 says, I'll come over. Now, I have a question from Aratrika. She has given me asked me to say that whether in this particular this technological shift that we are having in which there is a discrimination being faced by the established lawyers having all
sir,
set
could
up.
you repeat that? I did not get you. Could you repeat that again?
Arastrika has put me a question here in chat box saying that she was asking me to comment about
Yeah.
the discrimination being faced by the junior advocates in the light of this technological situation that we are
Yeah.
now having to undergo. That is this video system by which we have to connect to the court and all this. She's correct, because you see that the established lawyers, they have
Yes.
the set up. They do have all the paraphernalias to connect to the court, and they are also very well known, so that the link is also sent to them properly. For the junior lawyer, having this particular setup at the initial stage of the career is quite difficult. Although I agree that nowadays everybody comes with a laptop, and the laptop is part of the professional equipment they're having. But still, for the other things, that they should be having a proper decent place from where to connect and all those things might be lacking at times. Now, indeed, I answer you in Aratrika that yes, there is some discrimination, no doubt about it. It is a case where we are trying to overcome by giving a parity. But I am sure that there will be a parity and of some form which will be given on this score where you ask for and what is your concern about. Now, Devlina, other thing that I would like to point out here is that in this our this topic is about the stressors. Stressors is another stressor is that we are now very
Yes.
unsure about the outcome of the court cases, and even the clients are very unsure about that how the cases will come up, how it will be heard, when it will be
Okay.
heard, and all this. This is really stressing both the clients and the lawyers because I can't give a definite
So do
answer.
you think that's why there is, sir, I just have to ask you this. Do you think that's why the divorce cases or the separation cases have not been filed? Because I don't know how online.
Uh, that is, see, I don't know whether they are in a dormant position as of now because after it opens up properly, we'll get to know about this whether these things have either subsided or the people have come to know that no, I can live with the spouse that I am living. But we'll really get to know about the outcome of this entire lockdown period after the courts open up. The clients come and say that no, I cannot reconcile with my partner or spouse. Fine, it didn't work out that way, even if living together under the same roof during the lockdown period. But I'm sure that during this period, there might be a lot of ironing out of the conflicts
Okay.
in the family because people have learned to live with it.
It can
People have, I'm sorry, I don't hear you.
when you talk about irony, এখানে আরেকটা irony আছে that I just thought of.
Ironing.
Uh, the
Ironing. That
irony
is,
is when people are,
I talked about not irony, it was ironing. That is flattening
you're
out the
not very audible,
differences.
sir.
Hello?
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, your voice broke in between, so I couldn't hear that.
Right.
But it's all right. It's better now. Riddhi, let me to you. Uh, what I was just saying is that when people expect us to maintain social isolation, is the time that we have to, as Dr. Banerjee also said, we have to reach out to people. We have to find ways of reaching out to people. সেটা যদি হতো তাহলে maybe we could avoid a lot of tragic incidents. Probal, you might have a view on this, and I might come to you later on if we still have time. Kolkata witnessed a while back 7 suicide cases in one day, one of them being a 10-year-old child. Riddhi, your industry has recently suffered a heartrending loss as well.
Yeah.
The society, again, with the help of social media, we see people's opinions on this, and a lot of people are saying that this has got more to do with nepotism, which has got more to do with the bias of the industry rather than uh, the stress that the lockdown has caused. So would you say that, I mean, it is as big a strain for newcomers, as big a strain for beginners in the industry? Or would you say your experience was different? Because I know you have a legacy to take forward. So do you think the pressure of people's expectations is a lot more overwhelming, or is it really that difficult for beginners?
I think you placed the question so nicely that you gave my answer as well. So it's exactly what you said, that both the situation has its pro and cons, because a person who is struggling, who doesn't have any kind of a background, so it is a very different world for that person to come to step into this world of glamour and glitter, which apparently looks, it has a lot of glamour and glitter, but it has its dark sides too. And for a person who has a lineage to carry forward, yes, the stepping stone must be a little easier. But again, the problem is that right now, especially, you need to survive, or your existence depends on how good you deliver. So at the end of the day, both the person who's coming from like different backgrounds, one from a background and one from no background at all, so they are facing the same trouble. And also, as you said, that having a lineage behind has its own stress, has its own trouble to show that okay, you are an individual at the end of the day, so people needs to treat you as an individual instead of just calling you by your family's name. But again, recently the case which has happened, it is I don't know, the words like tragic or heartbreaking are not enough, because it's unbelievable. I still can't believe Sushant's demise, because it's
It
and
is.
what I'm more disappointed with is that now social media has become an open court. So I think Probal sir can also talk about it, because we have all become our own judge. We have become we all have our own courts. So in the social media court, it's very heartbreaking to see that people are already coming to conclusions, because depression is something we are not experts to talk about it. We don't know what causes depression. There are multiple factors which causes depression. Yes, I'm very happy that a lot of dark side of this industry is coming out in front of the people, which needs to come out and which needed to come out long back. I feel that the entire concept of cornering someone or getting controlled by particular people, so we all have seen that in several industries, not just our film industry. So the idea or concept of nepotism is in every industry, be it a medical industry or in the form of law or in the form of politics, everywhere. But again, what I feel sad is that because of Sushant's demise, some people are using this opportunity to state their own personal problems, and they're giving out their own judgment as if they knew Sushant Singh very well, and this is exactly the reason why he committed something so tragic. So that's something which I have a problem with social media from a long time, not just because of Sushant Singh's demise, but people constantly using emojis to show their grief and pointing out their opinion on this person's demise. That really breaks my heart even more. So I think
Are
depression
you
is a
saying
bigger
everybody
problem.
wants a bit of the limelight?
Yes, because even after Irfan Khan's demise, what I really disliked is people started posting selfies with him just after that man's demise. I think that is totally immaterial, because after someone is gone, you don't post a selfie with that person anymore just to show that yes, I have been with that person. It's everybody's personal opinion. I'm respecting everybody's opinion, but again, what I feel that this depression, this social media, what social media is doing, it is leading us towards an isolated world, increasingly an isolated world. It supposedly, social media it started out with the intention to connect people, but now it is just getting used. It is I think one of the biggest reason behind people's depression as well, since we are talking about depression today.
I think I would have to agree with you on that, because a virtual platform at the end is just that, it's a virtual platform.
Yeah.
Uh, Talking about depression, talking about the difficulties, I would like to direct this question to Sujata ma'am, because you
Yes.
meet women, especially in terms of parents, from different socioeconomic strata, and you worked in many schools which were located in different parts of Calcutta. So that way,
Yeah.
location-wise, also you've met
Hmm.
people from different parts
Yeah.
of the country, because you
Hmm.
have these meets, etc.
Hmm.
So my question is, if
Hmm.
during this pandemic, and
Hmm.
I mean, it is safe to say, I think, that ours is still a patriarchal society. So when it comes to household chores, even today, I mean, with our generation or the next generation, things might change. But mostly, it's the woman who's held responsible for the household chores.
Hmm.
So, for working women, do you think it has been even more difficult, this work from home situation, where you're having to
Absolutely.
balance work as well as the household chores?
Yeah.
And
I
have you
think.
experienced the same?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think working women are having the short end of the stick in the pandemic, because they are having to, for a long time. For example, I'll take my own example. I live in a housing complex in Newtown, and for a long period of time, like almost 2.5 months, not a single domestic help was allowed in. The complex had a policy that no outsiders were allowed into the complex, and rightly so, because they were taking care of our safety and security. So which meant that
And
we
I
had to
both.
do every yeah so which meant that we had to do everything whether it was the daily chores, or for those of us who had little children at home, they had to look after those children. They had to look for those of us who had aged people at home, me included. We had to look after them, and at the same time work, live up to our professional expectations, making sure the family was looked after, meals were being cooked, and the home was spick and span, and the bosses were happy so far as the professional this thing was goes. Yes, I think working women for a very long period of time, and I think in many cases it is still continuing, have had a very tough time in the pandemic, doing a balancing act. I have young teachers who get up very early in the morning and take care of their families, etc., and they are ready, and the best thing is they still look wonderful when they start their online classes at say 7 o'clock or 8 or 7:30 or 8 in the morning. And sometimes even I wonder that, my god, I know about the family situations, so I wonder why, my god, these women get up early, they have taken care of their families, and they're still looking so beautiful, and they're ready there for their online classes. So yes, I think hats off to the working women who've made it. I would say this time and again.
Great. Ma'am, I'll come back to
Yeah.
you because I think there's a viewer, Neeta ma'am, who has a question specifically for you. But
Okay.
let me come to Probal sir first.
Yeah.
While we are to summarize this lovely session, which was so enriching, I have always been very curious about lawyers, sir. So now that I've got a chance to have you in front of me and I can ask you this question, I'm just going to come out and ask you this. No matter what the crisis situation is, always seem to be in control. I know you've got too many stressors in your profession. We watch what we see in Hindi films. You've got to be, you've got to command the floor. You have to do a lot of paperwork. You've got a lot of legal risk that you need to take sometimes. But I've never seen a lawyer who's not very charming, who's not very energetic, and who's not very aggressive about work. So my question to you is, how do you do it? How do you stay in control all the time? What is your secret?
That's really a very good question. You see, whilst I was hearing your question, I was making up my mind that what should my
See, there
answer
you go. That's the smile, sir. That's the smile.
Yeah, right.
That's the smile, the charismatic smile I'm talking about. How do you do it?
Thank you so much. I tend to forget the stresses that I do have. That tomorrow I have a matter, first item in the morning, and I am not prepared about it. And I tend to forget it till the last time when I get to prepare. So my point is, see, that until unless you go into the deep in the matter, you don't get yourself stressed. So I just try to put all these things what I have to do at the last back end so that my period of stress is less. So in the morning, I can have a chat with all of you, such a beautiful webinar that we are having. And maybe in the afternoon, I'll have my lunch, and in the evening, at the last hour, I'll read my brief, and then I get myself stressed. So the entire period, what I get to is that I
Okay.
enjoy. This is what I'm trying to do as of now.
Lovely.
But during the usual hours, we could not because of
Great.
the work stress.
Take it one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Riddhi, you're the youngest in the group, but you also seem to have. No, sir. I just said, so summarizing what you just said, it's taking one step at a time.
Yeah, it is.
You're the youngest in the group, Riddhi, coming back to you, but you seem to have a huge insight into mental health and how the depression and the stress that has spread now. So, how do you keep tab of the red flags, and how do you manage your red flags?
It's because of the nature of my profession. Because in order to become an actor, you need to understand the character's mind very well, right? So when we started out when learning acting, so the first three important things are observation, and the assimilation of what you're observing. So I have this interest on varied characters, and I mean, it can be somebody who is a murderer. It can be someone who just takes our garbage from our house every day. So if you don't fall in love with the characters around you, regardless of how negative or positive they are, so we all have that negativity and positivity inside us. We have that possibility of becoming everything, which is just there right inside us. So I have this huge interest in understanding or trying to understand people's mind, and nothing can be better than our society, because it works as a mirror. You can just see your face in it. So that's why I think it has never been very depressing, because whatever I'm seeing around, it's kind of helping me grow as a person and as an actor as well. And I want to make films in the near future as well, so that for that too I have this varied interest in people. But moreover, at the end of the day, it just feels, I feel so privileged because of a very simple fact: the fact of being a small and tiny part of this beautiful society. No matter how problematic our society is, at the end of the day we all are social beings. We can't stay without this society. So and meeting, even I think I'll conclude my statement with one simple thing: that I learn from bad movies more rather than watching good movies. So it's the same for the society. I feel the more you see the negativity, it helps you to become a better person.
So you know what not to do,
Yeah.
and then you steer clear. Well said, Riddhi. We have one question for Sujata ma'am. This is
Yes.
about class 12 students, and this
Hmm.
is from Neeta ma'am as a viewer, about
Mhm.
class 12 students
Hmm.
who have, who have to
Mhm.
choose a new discipline, and they have to
Hmm.
decide, take a
Hmm.
life decision, and since
Hmm.
everything is delayed,
Hmm.
her question to you is, how do you suggest they take their life decisions, which field to go, which stream to go, what to do? Because right now,
Uh,
another question that I would like to add is, all the streams are very uncertain right now, so you
hmm.
do not know which one is going to boom in
Hmm.
the near
Hmm.
future.
Hmm.
So how do you
Yeah.
suggest the students take their decisions?
Okay, thank you, Deblina, and thanks to the viewer who's asked this question. I think first and foremost, the present class 12s, I really, commiserate with them. At the same time, I think, this will toughen them up for the future, because as Riddhi very correctly said just before, that you learn, I think, more from negative experiences, and he said he has learned more from bad films. So similarly, I think that all the present class 12s, although they are in a bad situation so far as the regular academics etc go, they are in a, because life has become uncertain. Life as we know it now, and as it is going to be possibly in the near future, is definitely uncertain. So I commiserate to some extent with the class 12 students. At the same time, I feel this will toughen them up for their future. Having said that, I think the class 12 students need to be a little wise when they are choosing careers. For example, if I had been in class 12 now, I would steer clear of professions like tourism, hospitality management, the hotel industry, the aviation industry to some extent, the entertainment industry to some extent, because I don't see these booming, say within the next couple of years. So for people who are slightly aged like me, a couple of years might not be a very huge matter. But for a child who's starting out on his or her career, who's just say 17, 18 years old and is in class 12 and is about to embark on a career, I think the career choices have definitely become limited for them, because they cannot afford to waste a couple of years of their lives at this point. So I think professions like technology, which are related to technology, are really going to boom. Professions related to the medicine, medicine like doctors, nurses, paramedical staff, really going to boom.
You really
Professions
think so,
related
ma'am?
to
I don't
chemistry.
think so. I don't think so. People are really very worried. Even the students who joined us this year in
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
MBBS, they're
having
very
having
scared.
said that, yes, having said that, ma'am, I know you
Yeah.
are from that profession, but see,
Because I'm a medical faculty, people are
yeah,
very, very scared to come
but
into it.
uh, but I'll tell you something. See, even in this COVID situation, who were the first
Aditi,
people we
let me
turned to?
ask you this.
Hmm.
Do you feel
Hello.
I would be happy
Uh,
if they are encouraged, but
and
Sujata ma'am,
I'm
that was my
but it's
question
not
to
that.
Aditi ma'am. Do you
yes.
think, being in the profession, do you feel that it's it's going to change? Do you foresee further change, or do you think balance would be restored? Things would go back to the way it was for your profession or for the other professions that Sujata ma'am has been talking about?
Yeah, I honestly don't think things are going to
Or do
back
you feel that
going.
this changes for good?
Yeah, it is. See, no, we can never say that any change is for good or any change is for bad, but we have to strike a balance. But things are not going to go back the same old way as it was, because this fear of COVID will be there now for next 1.5 years or 2 years. We cannot compare it to the past pandemics, because at that time the world population was way less as compared to the world population right now. There was no transit in between the countries as we have nowadays. There was not so much dense population everywhere in every profession and in every field. But what I would like to say, yes, if we are changing, we have to strike a balance and find the positivities into it. With this, may I just resonate with Riddhi one more time, but say that you might be very sound enough, to know from bad films, to understand from bad
Hmm.
films, but every youngster of your age wouldn't be mentally sound to do so.
Of
Many
course.
parents that I work with, having their children with neurodevelopmental disabilities, a single word, this recent very sad demise of Sushant Singh Rajput have stirred souls of many parents who are living with children with disabilities for
Hmm.
lifelong, and they don't know where the end is. Even with Sujata ma'am, I would say we are not still sure which career actually students should go for. So I would say, as a medical professional,
Ma'am, I'll just
yeah,
interrupt for a moment. See,
yeah,
the hospitality industry, hotels, aviation, these are
yeah.
definitely tourism, definitely going to take a hit within for the
But,
next one and
but
a half,
ma'am,
2 years.
what
So,
I'm trying to say, the students who are going to graduate from your school, they will take a time to
hmm,
study, and by that time, the pandemic will be over. So we really cannot predict at the moment what is the employment situation going to be. What I'm
okay,
trying to say
yes.
that
Hmm.
every student right now should space out. Every individual should pace out. We should go with the flow. We should be slow. 1 year, 2 years, they don't matter at all. What matters is we have to survive. We have to survive with a positive environment. And if a situation like that comes, where when I'm locked up in a room and I feel that it's the end of the world, the best thing, which of course Devlina ma'am being a psychologist herself would say, the best thing is come out, have some healthy food, go out for a walk or run at the roof, because those will build up the happy neurotransmitters in your body. Because if we see the this entire graph of suicides and
Absolutely.
depression, we will see that what kind of unhealthy life it provokes them to be into. One thing I will share, a little child came to my colleague in class 5, and she was so depressed with the load of assignments of online studies, she took an overdose of antihypertensives of her grandma, and she went into coma because she felt that would decrease her tension. She didn't realize antihypertensives are meant for what. Nowadays children have access to these medicines at home because of elderlies being there. So parents have to be vigilant, and they have to be
Hmm.
mentally sound too, because I see there's a question repeated twice about bullying. Of course, that's a long thing to be discussed, but if you feel you are being cornered, pressured, and you are being almost suffocated with bullying, and not everyone will have the personality to speak it out, not everyone will have the insight to analyze it. So there
Hmm.
should be certain quick remedies. Go for something which is good. Just take yourself out of the room, out of the situation. You write it down, that because at that time it doesn't occur to you that my parents will be sad, my family will miss me. Nothing will occur to you. These are the neurotransmitters at actions, the hormones at actions. You just succumb to it. So at those situations, there should be certain golden rules.
At
Come out
there,
of the
Dr.
room.
Aditi,
Yeah, thank you
uh,
so much. I can go off with it for on and on, because I see that happening to my
when
children
you talk
these days.
about
Yeah, and I understand our time. We are running out of time,
no,
but it was a
absolutely. No,
wonderful.
absolutely. You are correct. I think
Yeah,
because the reason I stopped you, because I just want to add there that
yeah,
unclear goals. I think summarizing, we can rightly say that uh, right now the professional stress revolves around unclear goals, no matter which profession you come from. And when it comes to depression or stress, I think one sentence, if we conclude in one sentence, it would be help would be given to those who seek it. We are a society at the end of the day, with all our twisted personalities, with all our negativities, we are still in it together. So if you're still in it together, we are going to get help when we ask for it. So if you need help, I suppose to the viewers, correct me if I'm wrong, panelists, but to the viewers, I think the message is, if you need help, just ask for it, and it will be given to you. The good things that have come out, one of the good things that I can see that has come out of this pandemic is that I got to meet you all, and I got to see you all, even though it's on a virtual
Always a
platform. So
pleasure.
I'm very thankful for today.
That's a pleasure.
Always
The
a
pleasure is
pleasure,
all
dear
mine,
madam.
ma'am.
Always a
Uh,
pleasure.
And just
and
1 minute, because I see Mr.
it's
Anirban
been
Dotto
lovely. It's been an absolutely
asking.
lovely experience.
Devlina ma'am, may I just once there's a question for the rural population, and of course I would request you to once direct
Okay,
it for
Mr.
the rural population as well.
has a question.
Yeah, that's a very important question which you can address in further sessions if the time doesn't permit today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's not about the urban population, Mr. Dotto. It is a general picture that we wanted to bring about. When we talk about Probal sir, he has a lot of clients, I'm sure, from the rural background. So when he shares his experiences, it just cater to the rural background. Riddhi has a lot of experience in terms of social experiences because of the field that he is in. Mrs. Chatterjee has worked in outskirts of Calcutta, and she has experience working with rural people. The only difference is that rural people have less access to media, they have access to financial sources. So what is bad for us is even more dire for them, I think. We can take this question up, and we can probably have a panel discussion with certain NGO members who have a lot more experience than I do in dealing with it. So maybe if you stay tuned with our musings, you'll probably have better answers from experts in this field. But for now, I would first like to apologize to the viewers for the technical glitches that happened, and despite my 2-3 internets working alongside each other, the lag that happened, and I do apologize to the panelists for the same.
Not at all. Not at
But
all.
No, not at all.
when
That's all
one
right.
more vote of thanks, one more vote of thanks should go to my team, Team Anubhav, because I am
Hmm. Sure.
technologically retarded. That's a very dangerous thing to say in the time of pandemic. But I think, I mean, I'm saying it very honestly, and I could not have done it without the help of my team members. So thank you very much, Chandrika, Orkunil Bhomik, Aratrika Bhomik, Shani, and Shomali. And finally, thank you, Paramita ma'am, because you gave me this opportunity. I could see all these beautiful faces for 1 hour. So
Pleasure.
thank you,
Pleasure's ours.
panelists,
Thank
Pleasure's
thank
you.
you,
ours. Thank you
viewers,
so
and
much.
thank
Thank
you,
you
my
so much.
team. I
Thank you.
hope
Thank
we
you.
can do this more often. Take
Thank
Yep.
you.
care. Have a happy
Take care,
Sunday.
everyone.
Okay.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.